From Nashville's WSM Radio, the original home of the Grand Ole Opry, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast.
Hey, it's Charlie Matos, and in this episode, we sit down with Greg Harris, president of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We would talk about a great concert coming to the Ryman Auditorium and a wonderful ongoing exhibit, Rock Hall at the Ryman. Enjoy our conversation with Greg Harris, president of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
All right, so here's the question. Little Big Town, Cadillac 3, The Warren Treaty, Maddie and Tay, Gavin DeGraw, Caitlin Smith, Charlie Worsham. What do they all have in common with this man who just sat down, Kelly Sutton? We welcome Greg Harris, president of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, to Coffee, Country, and Cody.
They're all hanging out at the Ryman tonight.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. And they're plugging in, and they're going to crank it up and play songs of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees in the venerable Ryman Auditorium.
I thought you were going to say, they're all opening for me! And then we're going to ballyhoo the lights and play 2001: A Space Odyssey, and out you come.
Out I come. You know what? It's the opposite. I'm going to open for them by welcoming everybody. And today I'm going to open for them by telling everybody about the show so they get downtown and attend it. There's still some tickets to see.
Okay. 7:30?
7:30. Okay. And it's at the Ryman. You know, I'm honored to be sitting right here at Opryland. We're actually here, friends. This is not a call-in. We are here, and these three individuals are in front of me. We're all humans. And the show tonight is going to be at the Ryman, so we're just thrilled.
You grew up, what were you listening to? Because I know you had the stint that you did at Baseball Hall of Fame, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But before you got to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, what were you raised on?
You know what? I was raised on, and it might be because my ear isn't that good, but I needed scratchy old blues and country music and garage rock and punk rock. That's what I was raised on. And growing up in the Philadelphia area where I grew up, radio sort of blended. You would hear Little Richard and you would hear Otis Redding, but you'd also hear, the Allman Brothers and bands like that. They kind of blended, and you didn't think it was oldies. It was oldies and newies. We had a DJ up there you may have heard of called Jerry Blavitt, the Geeter with the Heater.
Oh, yeah!
And Jerry was the Pied Piper for all of us. And so I grew up loving that stuff. Grew up listening to radio and just hearing that noise in my bedroom at night, and got lucky enough to work in this business now.
And he was one of the first guys to transition radio, his popularity on radio, to television, too.
Wow, you know your stuff, man. Absolutely.
And, of course, Philly, home to Rock Hall inductees and guys who've played the Ryman many times. Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
That's right. And I believe John Oates may be living down here in Nashville.
John sat where you're sitting many times on our show.
I can assure you he is here and not going anywhere.
Well, he's a walking historian and a great songwriter and just a great guy.
So I think that it's a wonderful exhibit, by the way. For any show you go to the Ryman, make sure you check out Rock Hall at the Ryman, because it's a great exhibit. But I think 100 Hall of Famers have played the Ryman Auditorium through the years, correct? We're pretty close?
Over 100.
Over 100.
And it is, I know you mentioned this, but we have an exhibit there that celebrates these inductees that have played the Ryman, and it is now probably about 110 or more.
Okay.
It includes way back Sister Rosetta Tharpe, the guitar slinging gospel singer.
Love her.
All the way up to, Springsteen played the Ryman, the Foo Fighters played the Ryman, and of course, Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, and the latest, Dolly. They all played the Ryman.
Yeah.
I'm in there. My name's William Smith Monroe. WSM. They named it after me.
I love it. Bill Monroe, he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, gang. Yeah. And it's a chance for us to remind people that it's not just four skinny guys with long hair and guitars. Rock and roll is so much more.
Oh, yeah.
Interestingly, 1985 on this date, Ford licenses the Beatles' Help for a commercial, marking the first time one of the Beatles songs was allowed to be used in a television ad.
Oh, wow.
That's a cool stat.
Yeah, Rock and Roll
year
Hall
was
of Fame.
that?
85.
Yeah, they kept them tight for a while, right?
Yes, they did.
And that's one of those bands that's in collectively and individually as well, right?
They are. They're in, the Beatles are inducted as a band. They're also inducted as solo artists. And in fact, tonight, you might hear a song or two by some amalgamation of them. And being covered by one of these artists. Again, these artists, they're not playing their own songs. They're playing Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees that have inspired them, that they believe in, they connected in. In our show, producers let them pick the songs.
Oh, wow.
So be ready. It's going to be a great night.
This is them just having fun, is what it is.
Don't
Getting
you-
to play all the stuff they wanted to do.
Maddie and Tay are out of their minds right now, just thinking about getting ready to do this tonight.
The Cadillac 3, come on. This is going to be insane tonight. How much fun.
So I was going through my list of people I've seen at the Ryman who are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I got to see Tom Petty there as part of Mudcrutch.
Yep.
Springsteen, I was there for the Ghost of Tom Joad acoustic tour. That was just one of the most crazy nights, I think. Cheap Trick.
Yes.
Eddie Vedder on a solo tour, of course, as part of Pearl Jam. The Beach Boys, Bob Dylan many times, Ringo, and Van Morrison. So that's pretty good company right there.
That is a heck of a starting lineup, isn't it? That's incredible.
Wow.
That's awesome. How did you decide to make that jump? Was it always the love of music that drew you away from the Baseball Hall of Fame to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Kelly, you're great. I'm here to talk about tonight, and you're asking me personal questions.
I need to know more about, because I think that is so interesting to have this incredible career and going from one to the other in the Hall of Fame.
So here's the story. As a younger kid, like all of you sitting here, fell in love with music and fell in love with radio, and I couldn't play that well, so I ended up volunteering at a local radio station, local NPR station, or it was a college radio station. Then when I went to college, I got involved in helping with music at the station, dropped out of college and opened up a record store. And I had it in Philadelphia. It's still there 30-something years later. My original partner has it. It's been a great success. I road managed a couple bands and got to know a lot of people in music. And one thing led to another, and I ended up at the Baseball Hall of Fame for 14 years doing great work as a senior executive. And the chance to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame came up. And when they heard about my background, when I had a chance to reconnect with this music and be at a place that brought my skills from baseball over to rock and roll, I jumped at it and haven't looked back.
Why Cleveland?
home.
Why was Cleveland the choice for the Rock and Roll Hall
Well,
of Fame?
part of it, as we're sitting in a radio studio, Alan Freed, a great DJ that in the early 50s was playing music to young people that was R&B music, but he was calling it rock and roll.
Yeah, and preachers were calling it the work of the devil.
Oh, yeah, which made us want it even more, right? And then Cleveland embraced the idea. They were looking for a place to build the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. A bunch of cities got into the mix, including my hometown, Philadelphia. But Cleveland showed up with a business plan, said, here's how we're going to build it, here's how we're going to fund it. And you know what? It was a great success, and we've had over 14 million people through our doors, and we're now expanding for the next 14 million. So all great stuff.
And I have never been. That is a trip I've got to make. Have you been, John?
And I would think, as a personal level, just a few more things to do in Cleveland than Cooperstown, New York. On a nightly basis.
There's Major League Baseball. There's a great theater district, and for
You got the Browns.
we do have the Browns.
Well, yes. Yes.
So
That is a factual statement. We do have the Browns. Yes.
Here's what you need to do. We have an amazing radio studio at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Come up and use it and go live from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, we look for any reason to road trip around.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
We flew down. We got on a plane last night at about 6:30, and we were in Nashville by 7:30. So come up and see us. Use our studios. Do live remotes from there, and we can talk about all the great Nashville folks that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And downtown Cleveland is great, right?
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's booming.
Yeah.
Have you been?
I've been to Cleveland, but I have not been to the Rock and Roll
Have you
Hall
been,
of Fame.
Kelly?
I have, but it's been a number of years.
Okay.
So when it's hot as heck in Nashville, come up to Cleveland.
Yeah.
We call that Hell's Front Porch. when that particular season arrives, we're on our way.
Yeah.
And is Roy Rogers in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
He is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
We were talking about Bill Monroe earlier. I just
Yeah.
wondered if he
Some
was
of the-
such a star.
Very much so, yeah. Some of the early folks that people may not think about, but Bob Wills, bringing that electric guitar into things and really blending everything. Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and a bunch of the early, Lead Belly, of course, and Robert Johnson and folks like that as well.
Well, set up Dolly Parton, who recently went in and almost didn't. Is there a backstory there before we play Dolly?
Well, what's incredible is Dolly helps us tell the story that rock and roll comes from the pillars of rhythm and blues, country, and gospel. And she's deeply steeped in all that. The other thing it helps us remind people is it's about attitude and spirit. It's not about a sound. And Dolly's got attitude and spirit, I can tell you, and she's influenced almost every young artist that has gotten on the stage after her, especially female artists. She's given them confidence. She's given them pride. So she's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It took her a little while to realize that Bill Monroe was in, that Hank was in.
Yeah.
And once she realized that, she embraced it, and she's been a great ambassador. If anybody goes online and just watches Dolly on stage for her induction ceremony, it's out on YouTube now, and she's singing with Rob Halford of Def Leppard, of Judas Priest, and Brandy Carlisle's up there as well, and Lionel Richie and Dave Grohl, and it tells you that rock and roll is a big tent, and Dolly fits squarely under it.
When God was giving out attitude and spirit, Dolly got in line like 4 or 5 times, didn't she?
Oh, yeah, 4 or 5 times, and she kicked open the door. So we love that she's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she's been a great inductee, and just can't say enough good things about her.
Greg Harris, President, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, thank you for coming to see us this morning. See you tonight, 7:30, Ryman Auditorium.
7:30 at the Ryman. Tickets are available, and pleasure spending time with all of you. I'd love to come back anytime, and I want you to come see us in Cleveland.
All right,
Love
you're
that.
on. Rock.
To the Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a 5-star review. This podcast was produced through the facilities of WSM Radio in Nashville, Tennessee. The hosts of Coffee, Country, and Cody are Bill Cody, Charlie Matos, and Kelly Sutton. Producer Eric Markham. WSM General Manager and Director of Content and Programming, J. Patrick Tittle. Copyright 2023. Opry Entertainment Group Holdings, LLC.